Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But
then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
Previously, a Tesla vehicle drove off a 300-foot cliff, and thanks to Tesla's superior safety features, all occupants survived, relatively uninjured. Meanwhile, one common complaint by many Tesla investors was that Elon was too distracted with Twitter, and in May, some major news breaks.
There's some breaking news about Twitter. We now know who will take the helm at the social media company. Elon Musk tweeting that NBC Universal Global Advertising Chair Linda Yaccarino will take over the role as CEO of Twitter.
Elon Musk has chosen Linda Yaccarino, NBC Universal's former head of advertising, to become the new CEO of Twitter. Musk confirmed the appointment on May 12th, a day after saying a new CEO would start in about 6 weeks.
Hi, my friend. Linda Yaccarino is probably the best-known ad salesperson there is on Madison Avenue. She's got a flamboyant and outgoing personality. She's got relationships that go from Silicon Valley to New York. She knows marketers by first name, she knows their kids, and she knows how to do her job. One media buying firm calls Linda Yaccarino the Velvet Hammer, and the reason for that little nickname is because she is one tough cookie when it comes to getting money. She can come off as the friendliest person that you've ever known, but when they're in negotiations, look out, she's tough. This is a real signal that Twitter needs this person to reverse the advertising slide that they've experienced.
So while Elon found an ace CEO, he was still committed to improving the platform while defending it from constant attacks.
There's not enough people to police this stuff, particularly around hate speech in the company. Is that
what hate speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter.
Right.
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
but just a personal anecdote, like what do you? I don't.
Personally, my for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content, yeah, personally. But I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally?
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content, and I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. You
can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
But you said
a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a
my
second.
following.
You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet. And yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my feed or not... I mean, right, and
literally
if you look at something
one.
Like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK, they will say that. So
look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But
then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know this hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on.
Next, CNBC had their questions regarding Twitter.
Do your tweets hurt the company? Are there Tesla owners who say, I don't agree with his political position and I know it because he shares so much of it? Or are there advertisers on Twitter that Linda Yaccarino will come and say, you got to stop, man. I can't get these ads because of some of the things you tweet.
You know, I'm reminded of there's a scene in The Princess Bride, great movie.
Great movie.
Where he confronts the person who killed his father. And he says, offer me money. Offer me power. I don't care.
So you just don't care. You want to share what you have to say.
I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
Okay.
Then Tesla held their annual shareholder meeting in which they dropped a major bombshell.
Well, we've got a lot of great news to talk about today. You know, people always want to know what our next product is. But this is not the time to... we obviously need to have a proper, dedicated product launch. I just want to emphasize that we are actually building a new product. We are actually designing a new product. We're not sitting on our hands here. There are 2 new products that I think you will be very excited about. And both the design of the products and the manufacturing techniques are head and shoulders above anything else that is present in industry. But Elon's guess is that that will probably make in excess of 5 million units a year of these 2 models combined. So.
And then the topic of advertising came up.
$525 off every car this year is half of Netflix's advertising budget. $1,000 is the entire Netflix advertising budget, and I see their ads everywhere. Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
And although there's obviously a lot of people that follow, like, say, the Tesla account, to some degree, it is preaching to the choir, and the choir is already convinced. So I think what you're saying does have some merit, and you know what? I believe in taking suggestions, so we'll try a little advertising and see how it goes. Okay. Okay. All right, I wasn't expecting that level of enthusiasm. But okay, it sounds like our shareholders, if I read between the lines, subtle as it is, are saying we should probably do some advertising. Okay, very well. All right.
We also got an update on Tesla Energy.
A while back, I predicted that the Tesla stationary battery pack business would actually grow faster than the automotive side of things, and that's exactly what has happened. You can see it's an exponential curve, growing at a rate that is even faster than our vehicle sales.
And on the topic, Tesla made another major announcement.
Now for a look at today's business stories, and we're going to head to Shanghai, where electric vehicle maker Tesla has signed a deal to build a new factory in the Chinese city, but it won't be producing electric cars.
That's right. This factory will be producing what Tesla calls megapacks. They're large-scale energy storage units that help stabilize electricity grids, for instance. The plant will be Tesla's second in China after the electric vehicle factory built in 2019.
The construction should start in July and begin operating in the second quarter of next year.
Tesla Energy in China. Elon thinks it's possible.
So you could easily power all of China with solar.
All of China with solar?
Easily, yeah. Yeah, no, easy.
The world's most populous country?
Yep, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, SpaceX was about to launch the largest rocket ever into space, making life multiplanetary one step closer.
After years of buzz about the most powerful launch system ever developed, a rocket meant to bridge exploration back to the moon and ultimately Mars, SpaceX's Starship is officially all systems go. With the FAA signing off on final approval Friday, a launch license, the critical and last hurdle for the unmanned orbital test flight, founder and CEO Elon Musk tweeting shortly after the news, "Success maybe, excitement guaranteed."
Life can't just be about solving problems. They have to be things that inspire you.
Starship has been top of mind for Musk for about a decade, with his stated goal to be able to carry up to 100 people on long-duration interplanetary flights.
You know, the reason I'm doing this is not so that I can get to Mars, but so that humanity can get to Mars.
The groundbreaking process has seen the company reach its altitude goals before, but experience some fiery landings. Previous test flights have all remained in Earth's atmosphere, until now. Still, the end goal for SpaceX remains sending people to Mars, and come Monday, it may be one step closer.
Attention to all operators on countdown 1. We're going to start our go, no-go poll for today's flight. Raptor 1. Go. Raptor 2. Go. Stage 1.
Go.
Good morning. On your screen is Starship as it awaits our first ever integrated flight test from Starbase Texas.
Flight directors, go for flight. 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, ignition, 2, 1.
Starship vehicle, tower clear, Linda picks over.
Another engine.
SpaceX putting on a brave face. You heard all that applause. Calling it a successful failure does raise some questions, though, about NASA's timeline for a planned return to the moon. Discuss more. Let's bring in Chris Hadfield, Canadian astronaut extraordinaire, former commander of the International Space Station.
Yeah, you say people are putting on a brave face. You have it completely wrong, Todd. This was an enormously successful test flight. I used to be a test pilot in the Royal Canadian Air Force and the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Air Force. This was a terrific day. We learned an enormous amount, and it really bodes well for the future.
So tell me, because at first glance, Chris, people see a rocket taking off and it blows up, and they think, that doesn't seem like a success, though. But walk us through why it is.
Well, the first flight of the F-14 crashed. The first flight of the F-16 wasn't even supposed to be a flight. It went out of control and the pilot barely limped into the air. The Wright brothers crashed more times than you can count. One of them almost killed Orville Wright. People don't normally see test operations. They just see like airlines and expect everything to be perfect. But this was the very first orbital attempt of the biggest rocket ever built, 33 engines, a vehicle that can give us capability we've never had before.
Okay, so what's next here, Chris? What do you think we're going to see in the months ahead?
Well, there's a whole bunch of analysis now. Find out what failed and why and how, and then go back through and check their designs and then fix whatever doesn't work. You learn a huge amount from your first try. And then, it's sort of like a model airplane. You can build all the model airplanes you want, but until you throw one, you don't know if it's an airplane or not. So they need to modify things before they make their next test flight. Just a natural, necessary part of the development of an aerospace vehicle. Elon said, couple months, 3 months, they'll give it another try. And that's a reasonable timeline. Depends what they discover now out of all the data, the telemetry that was coming down, how much they learned and how quickly they can incorporate the changes.
In the next episode, a new site breaks ground while major partnerships are announced. If you enjoyed the episode and want to help the channel, Patreon is the best way to do so. And also, a big thank you to all Patreon members and Ice Lake Investments for making this documentary series possible. So till next time, I'll catch you guys soon.